Hi, Lisa Parziel. Hi, my name is Lisa Parziel, and in Module 2, we're going to talk about what reputation management is. So in other words, what can you do with it? What is it that you would want to learn this particular skill for? So let's just jump right in and talk about really what is reputation management. Well, first of all, it can be used as a tool to actually get clients. So meaning using it as a loss leader. If you're an SEO person or if you're a website designer, if, depending on the kind of business you're in, you can actually use reputation management to attract and gain clientele. So think about if they had something bad out there, they had a bad reputation, even the fact that you know about something that they don't. Just a conversation with them can oftentimes be what propels you and gets you into the door. So we often use it as a tool to gain clients or to get their trust. You can also do pure reputation management as a service. So in other words, a monthly service that you can sell to someone to fix their reputation if they have a bad or negative reputation. Or you can use reputation management to actually build up a reputation in a positive manner. So maybe they don't have any reputation at all, or maybe the reputation they do have just really isn't as good as their competitors. Or, and the final thing you might want reputation management for in this particular scenario is the future. So we're going to talk a lot about the future and why reputation management is becoming increasingly more important. And then again, reputation management can be a very, very big part of your SEO strategy. The techniques that we're going to use to actually implement the reputation management, whether it be to fix something or to increase reputation, all of these things can actually propel the SEO strategy. In this manner, really, everything you're doing can really be part of a package deal, and we'll talk about that in future modules. And then finally, it can be used as a tool to gain trust and build authority and gain client loyalty. So let's say you're already doing SEO for them. Why not add a reputation package? It doesn't have to be a big one. It can be a small one. It helps you to actually gain the loyalty and more services that you can provide for those clients. Everybody who owns a business today needs to manage their reputation. So if they don't know how, you're actually doing them a service. If you use it to gain trust or build authority, same idea. You know so much about this after taking this course that they don't know. They're going to look to you as being the trusted authority in this and many other things. Remember, once you gain authority or trust with someone, they typically look at you as somebody who does have that trust for anything else you might want to do for them. So let's do a reality check. And most of this module is really about trying to figure out where your reputation is right now. So taking a snapshot or a reality check, so to speak, of either your business, if that's what you're trying to manage, or your client's business. What is their reputation? What do they look like? Because there's many reasons why you're going to want to know this information before you even agree to do reputation management for any client. So I always say the truth is in the stars and search results, right? So at the end of the day, we all typically say, well, reputation is more about the 5 stars anymore. It's not. It's about many things. That's a part of it. Those stars are a big part of it, but it's also the search results. As we showed you in Module 1, when you literally look at the content, when you look at what shows up on page 1 and you go through it, those search results really matter. So we're going to talk about what is real and what can I actually bury. So when I see something bad, is it realistic to think that I can in fact get rid of that for the client? What I don't want you to do is to go out there and say something that's not true or promise something that you can't deliver. So the first thing you probably need to recognize is don't make any promises. Tell folks that this is not a science and that you're going to work for them and do the best job you possibly can. And then negative reputation, if we see it out there, we're going to talk about what it is, we're going to point it out, and those type of things. Really, it's your public relations, it's your online reputation, it's your business that can be found 24/7, or your client's business that's out there all day, all night, 365 days a year. You want to make sure that that image is exactly what you think it should be. Why? because a negative reputation will cost you or your client money, plain and simple. So let's take a look and talk about the reality check right now. I'm going to go ahead and go out there. We're going to look at one of our customers that's just not the best customer to take on. We took them on anyway, and it's worked out very well. But we still have problems and we're still dealing with them. So it's a really good example. Okay, so here we are on Google. I'm going to just go ahead and type in dentist in Hebron, Ohio. And what you're going to see is what a client would expect to see if they were hiring you for SEO. And this client would be thrilled with us because we have them on page 1 for both 2 spots in the Google map. So here's the client for their website. Here's the client on their Google Plus profile. Then if we come down here and we take a look, there they are again for their website. There they are again for their website. There they are again for their website. This right here is exactly what people pay us to do. Several spots on page 1. That's fantastic. The problem with this client is as we keep going down, here's what we're going to see. Oh, well, wait a minute. There's a 3-star rating on health grades, but that's them again. Here's them again. Here's them again. Here's them again. Here's them again. We have them so well ranked that you can't not find them on Google. That's a good thing, right? Not in this case. This used to be worse. This is actually better than what it had been. So when we first took on this client, they did not have a negative reputation. They had a really great reputation. And so we got them ranked and we put them, I think even currently, they dominate page 1. I think they're maybe not 3 out of the listings on page 1. That's fantastic. And of course, they're happy with that. But what happened is they did not want to pay for a reputation campaign. And we did explain it to them and try to help them understand that in the future, reputation will be a big deal. Well, sure enough, here it is, the future. And now what pops up but healthgrades.com showing a 3-star with 8 votes. And so now we're dealing with reputation. So is this customer now paying for reputation? Yeah, they are. The problem is they're now paying for it higher than if they would have just paid for it when they had a good reputation. And we are going to talk about the difference of selling a negative reputation campaign to a positive reputation campaign. I'd rather take on somebody all day long that has no problem with the reputation. We're just trying to make sure when someone looks them up, they come up and dominate page 1. So in this case, we didn't even look them up by their name. I wanted to show you that they have great SEO as well. But if I were to look them up by name, just to see what happens now, you're going to see that they come up quite a bit. And notice that the health grades, we have been able to stuff that down to where if they look them up by name, the health grades is not something that we made come up on page 1. If we kind of come over here to page 2, again, you're seeing a positive. We put things out here that when they typed in their name, it would take the place of what would came up instead. So that's what you're trying to do. That's the goal, even with someone who has some negativity out there. Now, mind you, we are working diligently on trying to change this health grades score and try to get that to be a 5-star rating. If we can do that, this client is well positioned in their market. They do get a flood of traffic. It's fantastic. Your worst nightmare for a client is you do SEO them. You get them up there on the search engines, and lo and behold, they did not want to pay for or pay attention to their reputation because at the time it was great. There are many reasons how things like this can happen, and we are going to talk about those types of things. But there's a giant reason why you want to make sure that your client understands how important their reputation is. Okay, so now that we talked about that and we kind of looked at that, let's talk about which clients you should actually target. So in the traditional sense, reputation management from years ago really meant taking someone who had a bad reputation and making it better. Should you still go after that type of client? That's what we're going to talk about for a moment. So let's talk about reputation management. In a traditional sense, that's exactly what it is. Somebody has negative feedback out there, negative star ratings, maybe some negative news or press, and you're being hired to come in and clean that up. You're correcting either a bad reputation or a negative reputation. But when is it too bad to correct? When should you shy away from it? In the case we showed you a minute ago with the dental client, that wasn't something we would have shied away from had we came across them with their reputation as it is currently. They have 3 stars on Health Grades. Health Grades is not the type of site that plays fair. In other words, you can put any type of review you want out there anonymously. So you can put any type of review you want out there anonymously. So Health Grades can really be easy to fix, actually. Now, I'm not telling you to fake reviews. We will talk about how to fix those types of things. But realistically, when it's too bad to correct, it's when they have 3, 4, 5 or more sites that just pop up with negative reviews. If you go out to Google Plus and you see that they have 3 negative reviews and 1 or 2 positive, or even if they have 10 positive and 3 negative, read the reviews. Do they seem like they're fake and they're going to be highly competitive because their competitors are giving them negative SEO? Or do they seem like they're actual customers that really think their services aren't that good? You want to shy away from any client that will continue to gain a negative review. Meaning, if you think it's a problem with their service, it's probably not going to get better. Your job will always be cleaning. While it's possible and you can continue to do that, it's not going to present you with a good ROI, a return on investment. So what you're really looking for is the type of client that has a couple of bad reviews if you're doing reputation management traditionally and trying to fix stuff. 1 would be great, 2 are okay. You get into 3 or more, I'd shy away from that particular client. I like to talk about reputation marketing, different than managing. Why? If we think about the customer I showed you a minute ago, that customer had a really good reputation, and we approached that customer after we got them ranked and put them on the front page. We let them know, look, you guys are ranking wonderfully. Now we need to talk about your reputation. You're out there so well that it's going to be very easy to find you. And when it's very easy to find you, it's very easy for customers, competitors, and other people to start putting negative things out there about you. So we talked to them about doing a positive marketing campaign, what we like to call reputation marketing. In other words, trying to actually do the diligence ahead of time to get enough ratings and rankings out there for them that when they do get a negative review or they do have something negative about them, it's going to be very easy to deal with. We call that reputation marketing because proactive is better than reactive. Better to take a customer that doesn't have any reputation or just has a decent reputation and explain to them the benefit of the future and why they want to start now and not wait till they have negativity. Negativity, a negative type of situation is bound to happen, whether it be the competitors or whether it just simply be some customers. We can't please everyone. We are going to have people that are going to put out negative reviews. Now let's talk about bad press. Do I take on a client that has a ton of bad press? Well, that depends. I had somebody ask me recently, should I take on X client? And when I went out and looked at their client, they had some pretty bad news stories that were out there from some highly reputable news services, meaning there was no way I was going to get those press pieces off or get rid of them. So I would have to flood the market with press to try to, squash that. It's okay if they have one piece of bad press. And if that piece of bad press is something that, if it was found on page 2 or page 3, wouldn't be horrific for the customer. But when you start seeing article after article after article, same thing. It's going to be very hard to bury that bad press. And it's going to be a harder task for you. Now, you want to take on these clients or you want to tackle this, maybe this is your business and this has happened to you. It's possible. You can do it. It's just going to take a lot more work than it would with somebody with, less press or less negativity. So make sure you charge accordingly. Make sure you know that there's going to be a lot of time involved and a lot more effort to fix that rather than somebody with a little bit less. Let's talk about criminal records. Should I take someone on with a criminal record? Well, I had a client who called me in the middle of the night. I didn't answer, so in the next morning when I listened to the message, they were frantic because they Googled themselves. And surprisingly, they had never Googled themselves before. And when they Googled themselves, a picture came up from their youth where they had a criminal record. And so they asked if we could do something and fix that. And of course, we can. And we said we would do that. They were already an existing client. It was one record, it was one thing. And so I did take that on. But if somebody has a criminal record that when you go looking them up, it's going to be so hard. Remember, criminal records are public information. They will keep resurfacing. Criminal records are public information. They will resurface over and over and over again. So you want to be careful about taking on clients who do have a very bad criminal record or something that you think it's going to be very difficult. News stories, criminal records, things like that, these are often very permanent things. We might make them go away, but they can be brought back pretty quickly and pretty hard. So keep this in mind when you're talking about what type of client you should target for reputation managing or reputation marketing. We really need to do our homework. Remember, if they own a business, you not only want to do your homework on the business, but also the business owners, because those are the types of things that when somebody hires you to do reputation, if you had not done your homework, they think that you're going to manage their entire reputation. And so down the road, after you've made their business look good, all of a sudden their personal life comes up and they say, well, no, that was part of the package. Make sure you're very clear with your clients that no, in fact, when we manage your business, we're managing just your business. So we do need to talk about your personal profile as well. Okay, let's talk about and look at how we get a clear picture of an online reputation. So at the beginning of this module, we did go out and we looked at a reputation, but I'm going to now talk to you about not forgetting to check your online closet, so to speak. Before you give somebody a quote for SEO, before you embark on doing any kind of reputation management, okay, now we're going to talk about getting a clear picture of an online reputation. Let's be completely honest. Until you know everything you need to know about a client, a business, even if it's for you, your situation, you're not going to know how much work is going to be involved or how successful you can be until you know everything. So we need to go ahead and look in everyone's closet to see what they have hiding in there. Anything you don't look at when you're doing your initial report, when you're trying to figure out what that person's current status is, we want to make sure we find everything, because your quote, your price, the amount of work that you're going to have to put into this campaign is dependent upon where they are today and where they want to be in the future. So some of the things that you should consider, and we're going to take a look in a minute. Google News. Don't forget to check Google News. A lot of people don't check that. Look up the name of the business, look up the business owners, look up everyone on Google News. Look at YouTube, look at Vimeo, look at videos. See what's out there. What could surface? Remember, online reputation is not about always where they are today. Anything can surface at any time, and you need to know what's out there so you can figure out the best strategy. Look at Google Maps. What's out there? How many different profiles do they have? Things like that. And look at the images. Don't forget to look at images. Look at social media. Look at their Facebook. Look at their Twitter account. Look at everything you can think of when it comes to social media. Citations and listings. So let's start by saying, if you don't know what a citation is, it's basically Yelp, insider pages, things like that. The places that have listings and either do listings by address and phone number, or also could add 5-star ratings or comments or things like that. We want to check every single thing we can so you know what that reputation is about. And then niche sites. Don't forget, there's many things. If they're a doctor, they have specific sites. If they're a lawyer, they have specific sites. There's different things about every little piece that's out there. We want to make sure to look and do our homework. It's so easy to go quote someone before you do your homework. You will regret it if you don't. And then we're going to talk about what we find. So let's go ahead and jump over. And I'm going to go ahead and use my company because it's the fair thing to do. I'm going to go ahead and just look myself up, Portside Marketing, and let's take a look at what's out there. So we talked about looking at everything. So let's start with Google. When we look at Google, for instance, we come here and we see first the company. Great. 4.9 stars. That's fantastic. Don't forget to look at what the reviews say, because 4.9 means that there's something out of 14 reviews, there's something not good in there. Otherwise, I'd have 5 stars, right? So let's go take a look. I click on the reviews and I get a nice synopsis of the reviews. So a Google user, no idea who it is, 5 stars, says some information here. You'll be surprised. There are people who will give you a 5-star review, give your customer a 5-star review. When you go look at that review, it's spam. Do we want that? Not necessarily. Now, if you have a really negative review and you need that 5 stars to maintain your status, sure, leave it up there until you fix it. But most of the time, we want to get rid of that. We only want good, glowing, positive things about us. So as we kind of look down, these are all people that I know, customers, and they're all saying nice things about me. There's nothing in here that's not somebody I know. Now, a while back, I did find something from someone. They gave me a 1-star review, and it was spam. So I reported them as spam, and we are going to talk about how to fix all of this in a future module. So don't worry right now about fixing it. I want to make sure you guys first do your homework before you worry about what to do, because your strategy is going to be important on what to tackle first. There's a great order you should go in that will get your reputation or a business's reputation to get better faster. So, okay, so I'm pretty good here. When it comes down to it, I believe there's a 4-star rating down there, and that 4-star actually is what's giving me the 4.9. Plus, I got rid of a 1-star. If I look at Facebook, notice Facebook's here. That means I'm going to want to go check out what that Facebook profile is. Now, when I go to Facebook, the nice thing about Facebook is Facebook also has a star system. And in this case, you know, it's not showing up, but it does show up. I'm logged in as me, and that's why it doesn't show up. But typically, you have a rating system. And let me just log out here for a sec and see if I can't get, and I don't think I can. No, because you have to be logged in. But if you were to go look at my ratings, I do have a 5-star. Let me click on about. It might be in there. And no, it's not showing. So Facebook sometimes shows their 5-star review system. Sometimes it doesn't. It is very important to make sure you go look at every piece of their profile to try to see what everything's looking like and what it's doing. Okay, LinkedIn, you're going to want to go check out the LinkedIn profile. Again, you're just looking for any type of negativity. Yelp, here's a 5-star rating. Again, I would go look at every one of the reviews just to know that customer. And over here on local.yahoo, 3 reviews, 5-star rating. I would go look at those, make sure I understand. So you're going to go through everything on what's called the web or Google Natural and look through all of that. Go in a few pages. You will notice that, you know, I go into, on the second page, we're starting to see other things. By the time you get to the 3rd page, you do see me, but you see other things. I think we've gone as far as page 10 and you see us. If you need to find every single thing on the web, all you need to do, especially if it has to do with the site, the URL, you can type in site, colon, and then the name of the website. So site, colon, portsidemarketing.com. It's going to give you every entry, anything that has to do with, and you can go look at every little thing. What you're looking for is those skeletons in the closet. Is there something out here about, you know, this particular company that gives you a red flag that, hey, maybe I don't want them, or I do want them, but I'm going to have to charge them more. You'll use what you find to create the report for them to actually show them why you want to charge them what you do and what you're going to do to help them. So after you've actually looked at their entire profile for the company, remember you would do the same thing for each owner of that business. But let's look in the closet. Let's take a look at news, for example. We probably want to see if we're in the news anywhere. So I look up Portside Marketing, and lo and behold, we shouldn't see anything in the news about us. But don't forget to look up the owners, and I don't expect to find anything bad out here about me, but you never know. So I looked up myself, and again, Nothing bad is showing up on page 1. You might want to go 2 or 3 pages deep, but you get the idea. So we do want to go to news. We also want to go look at images, for example. So I left Lisa Parziel in there, and I can see there's me, and I can keep going and down and finding lots of me. There's pictures that are associated with me. So it doesn't have to be of you. It could have been attached to your profile or the business owner's profile or the company's profile. For instance, this is my dog and it's attached to me. It wasn't named anything with my name. It had nothing to do with my name, but because it's attached to me, it's showing up. You'll also start seeing, people that I'm associated with. So as we look down here, you're going to see some of these other people are either relatives, or they could be clients, or they could be people I know. I recognize some of these pictures. I'm not going to point them out, but in some cases, they're associated with me. That's why we're looking at this. What bad comes up? Now, I'm not seeing anything that really flags me, on the images, but you want to check. You also want to check the company name or any product or service or thing like that. Now, Portside Marketing, we have a lot that comes up under our name for our company. Why? Because we do everything we do under the company name. I typically don't do it under my personal name. So you will see pages upon pages. We do quote of the day for ourselves. We do quote of the day for our customers. It's going to pull pieces of websites we've done. There's just going to be a whole heck of a lot of stuff out here that's associated to us. So you're going to look through, you're looking for mugshots, you're looking for any nudity, anything that's associated with your business, the client's business that you think you're going to have to get rid of or try to bury. If they sell something, look at the shopping. If they do other things like videos, so videos is important. Always look for videos. If we look up Portside Marketing, we're going to see, yep, we have a YouTube channel, but it also is going to, talk about, here's a video I did about print marketing in 2014. I did an interview with somebody about print marketing, and that's up there. Here's, a video I did about how to rank YouTube. Oh no, this is a customer who gave me a great review about ranking YouTube videos. And be careful, watch this kind of stuff. It could be somebody gave a review to your customer, hey, this business sucks. You really need to go, at least what comes up on page 1, go watch the videos. So this was a customer of mine who did a video. This is a video on something else. And then you can go down, here's another customer, et cetera, et cetera. So I recognize all these things. And here's a customer I did a video for, and our name is in that video. I recognize all those things. I would highly recommend that you also go out to YouTube and do check out YouTube to see what's out there. So when you get out there to YouTube, you would do the same thing. You would type in the name of the company. To check out what's out there. And I know you guys are probably getting really anxious because it's like, let's get to the meat. Show me how to rank. Show me how to fix a reputation. We're going to get to that. You need to know what's out there. You need to know what you're going to have to fix, what you can fix, what might be hard to fix, and what you should charge to do so. So when you go out to YouTube, you're going to actually see the videos that's associated with your company. Now, if the company has a name that is more than, we're pretty unique. We made sure when we named our company, we found a unique name that would not really worldwide have any issues. And so everything that comes up is pretty much associated to us that I see thus far. We can keep going out, and I'm sure, maybe I go out here to page 7. There might be, and see, now we're just getting into things that use the word marketing or use the word Portside and really have nothing to do with us. So that's the kind of stuff you do need to look at. I don't think you have to watch every single video if the videos are an hour. Just trying to get a feel for, is this a good or bad thing? You want lots of good and no bad, unless you're really targeting people with bad reputations, which is a strategy. Then you're looking for people who have bad stuff and you're going to help them get rid of that bad. Okay, now let's talk about social media. I'm going to go on back over to Facebook there for a minute, and let's talk about social media. So one of the things that you're going to want to do is find a company in the social media. So you're going to go over to And in this case, I'm not going to use my company because it's going to come up with my profile. So let me go ahead and look up, I don't know, I'm going to look up Pepsi. And what you want to look at in these social sites when you're trying to look up stuff with Pepsi. So gotta love this. Bono comes up first with Pepsi. Not a bad thing. So right up here it talks about, and this could change, you know, Facebook changes, a lot of the things could change, but for the most part, you can look up people that have to do with Pepsi. And so all these people have used the word Pepsi in their naming convention. You can look up photos that have to do with Pepsi, and you're going to see and go through some of these, try to get, you know, on the most recent ones. So you see what, when somebody looks you up, what possibly could come up or what could possibly come up for that business. Pages, what type of pages are surrounded? So, you know, let's go back to my business. And when we look over here in pages, you'll see that there's only one page. Now, that's a great way to figure out, is there more than one profile on that company? So what if their competitors put a bad profile out there? What if an ex-employee or a current employee has a page out there? Always look up as much as you can. Remember, we're digging around the closet. We're trying to find those skeletons. Places, same thing. You're trying to see if there's any duplicate, and there's not. So there's plenty more you can do, and you can look up groups, you can look up apps, you can look up events. Again, everything you should look at. You can do the same thing for Twitter. So for example, in Twitter, we're probably going to want to look up things like, and I'm going to log in as me. So let's go ahead and look up, oh, I don't want to post. I want to look up. So hold on, I'm going to come here. Okay, on Twitter, what we're going to do is we're going to come up here to the search Twitter. Now you do have to be logged in, so you do have to have a Twitter account in order to do this. So when you get up in here, you're going to go ahead and type in. So we'll do Pepsi again. And we're going to look up everything that comes up with Pepsi. And so it's going to show us accounts that come up with Pepsi. It'll show us some things that are associated with Pepsi. I love that. We type in Pepsi and they show us Coca-Cola Life. And then it starts showing us things that have the word Pepsi in it. And we can go through there and start looking at stuff. Now there's tools to monitor a lot of this stuff, and we are going to talk about tools later. But you could actually monitor a lot of these things and monitor profiles and monitor keywords and things like that using tools. But initially, you might want to just go out and take a little gander yourself. Okay, now when we're talking about citation sites, we're talking about places like Yelp, Insider Pages, Merchant Circle. There are thousands of these, thousands. And when you did your initial search in your web search, you would have found many of these. So what you want to now do is go look at the profiles. So for example, I'm going to go ahead and just type Pepsi. Again, there's the Pepsi Bottling Company of Columbus. I don't know if that's their headquarters. But when you're actually typing something in, you do have a location. If I don't pick a location and I type in the word, it will actually give me those things that actually are associated. So in this case, I can only assume that Pepsi only has the Bottling Company of Columbus. I can then come in here and say Dallas. And I'll see that there's Pepsi companies in Dallas. Now, if I want to look up a national search, and I type in national, for example, it's going to give me whatever I have searched on a regular basis. And I have searched Ohio and other places because I have clients out there. But then it'll start giving you all sorts of other things that have to do with that particular company. But more importantly, what you're trying to do is you're trying to find, we're typically doing this for local companies. National companies are a little bit harder. You know, you can see that you have some things out here for cities. Okay, now we're going to talk about citation sites. Citation sites are things like Yelp, Insider Pages, Merchant Circle. These are places where we typically, used to rank SEO for local. Actually doing these types of things, you'll come across businesses that have hundreds, if not thousands, of these listings. It was a very popular approach, and still is, to rank for local, is to have a multitude of, of these citation sites. So when we're dealing with reputation management, we do actually want to go out there and we want to look at each one of these. And so when you're looking out at places like Yelp, you want to go look at a business, for example. So if I come out here and I type my business in, notice I come up, so I can just go ahead and click on it and it will show me my reviews. Again, I want to go look and see what they say. There is a lot of instances where you're going to see a 5-star review that has some kind of spam in it. It might not seem like a big deal, but what if your customer goes to look you up? They see 5 stars. When they go there, it says something like, I love this place. It's raunchy and full of hot sex girls. Sorry to be so blunt, but you don't want that associated with your business unless that's your business. So therefore, even if it's a 5-star review, but it's some kind of negative connotation, you're probably going to want to try to get rid of it. And we are going to deal with how we can do that. Yelp is actually one of the easiest places to get rid of a bad review if it is in fact spam. It's actually pretty easy. Google is as well, and we'll talk about that. So make sure you go out there and you look at the citation sites, the different places, and look at what that is. Look at the pictures, look at the notes about them, things like that. And last but not least, we talked about niche sites. I'm going to go to health grades because I showed you that earlier with one of our customers. And so I'm going to go ahead and just look up that dentist here. The niche sites are typically going to be industry specific. So we're probably talking about things like doctors or dentists or lawyers or surgeons or plumbers. A lot of these types of businesses have very niche citation sites or listing sites, or think Angie's List, or so many places you can look. And in the case of that client I was showing you who has 3 out of 8 stars, we'd probably want to go take a look and see what that says. That's something that's going to be very important because the niche site tends to be valued more by the client. For whatever reason, they don't understand that Health Grades is not really a great site because they allow anyone to go put a review out there. So it could be your competitor. The general public doesn't know that. So therefore, they're going to actually trust that 3-star. They're going to see that and move away. If they've got other choices, they're not going to use that particular person because they don't have to. So you want to go out here and see what are they ranking them on. So ease of scheduling urgent appointments, 3.5. Office environment, 3.5, etc. Total wait time, 10 to 15 minutes, which is probably same as national average, no big deal. Level of trust in provider's decision, 3, that's bad. So we're noticing just a lot of 3.5 and 3 stars. That's something out of 8 responses that we need to be really paying attention to, because on a site like this, notice there's no comments, there's no names, there's no people. We can't dispute it. Anyone can put these types of ratings out there. You don't even need an account on Health Grades to do so. What I'd try to ascertain by this, is it true? Is there any truth to what folks are saying? So I would be going over something like this with my client to say, hey, here's what we found. So again, you're going to use this type of material to build your report, to go back to that particular client and explain to them, this is where you are, this is where you need to be, here's the strategy, and here's the cost. If this happens to be your business you're doing it for, you're now going to know what type of uphill climb you might have, whether it's going to be a small little hill or if it's going to be a giant steep mountain. Okay, so we're nearing the end of this module. I know it was a little bit long, and you guys are waiting to get to the good stuff. The next module is the good stuff. It's the meat and potatoes of this course. But don't forget, do your homework. Make sure you take this very seriously because you want to know where someone's at. So what are our next steps? Well, now that we kind of know where our client or where our business is out there, we want to create a strategy to attain that 100% positive reputation. We want to dominate page 1 and above of Google. We want to control our reputation. So that's our next step. So we need to begin looking toward the future. So not only do we need to fix it, but once we get it fixed, or if we have a client who really doesn't even have anything to fix, we need to start thinking about the future. How to implement a reputation marketing strategy that either once we fix it or once we build it, we can maintain it very easily. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next module.